super quick video here for this one. This is celery hearts, organic celery hearts. And what we're gonna do with this is make celery salt today. I had a plan to make some and then give some as a gift to a friend who is transitioning to doing raw. So I thought this might be a nice little early Christmas gift, you know what I'm saying? So, some of this is obvious, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. But sometimes dirt can get trapped in here, like it can for leeks. So you wanna give everything a really good rinse and cut off any of this and give it to your guinea pigs, save it for vegetable stock, whatever you're gonna use it for. Alright, garnish. Alright, so when you wash it though, you do want to give it a good dry, otherwise it'll take a lot longer in the dehydrator. So I'm just gonna use a clean towel and give it a good wipe off. I'm doing this super fast because I should have started dinner like 20 minutes ago, at least. But we got a last minute grocery pickup and I really want to get this in the dehydrator because we're going to leave it in there for about a day. So remember that anything, so we're doing this as raw celery salt. So we don't want to do anything above 115 at the highest, 115, 118. Some say 108. Take your pick, but we're gonna leave it at about 115 or just slightly less for about 18 to 24 hours. I'm gonna guess about a day. So I'm gonna finish drying these off and then we're gonna chop them up a little bit before we put them on the trays. This is the big part where you see some dirt right there. So I've dried these off as much as I have time for, and I'm gonna get a knife. And I thought I'd just talk about what the heck I'm doing here. I really am gonna get a better setup. I swear I will. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut into small pieces, about like this, so it doesn't take super long to dehydrate. The smaller the piece, you know, the faster it will dry. So why make celery salt? Why? Regular salt, table salt for one, I mean, it's just not good for you. You know what I'm saying? I think everyone knows that at this point. Most people have switched over to like Himalayan sea salt, etc. But, you know, realistically, it's just a very, there's so much additives in salt now, which you would think, well, maybe iodine, but there's other stuff too. There's anti-caking agents. There's, I forget what all the other stuff was, but I had gone to pick up some salt at our vacation spot just from the little store up at the corner, and of course they didn't have anything like Himalayan, but I was shocked at like how much stuff they're putting in salt now. I think it was Morton or something. I was like, wow, no. And I'm using all of this, so there's like some end pieces that you normally wouldn't want to put in like stew or whatever, and I'm just using all of it because it's just all gonna get processed when we're done. So table salt aside, sea salt, you know, it's good to have the right amount of sodium in your diet, but it is better to get that sodium from our natural food sources. When we add table salt or, you know, sea salt onto our foods, over time it does change our palates. And, you know, raising our natural sodium content, our sodium levels aside, it does change our palate. We grow to expect things to be more savory, and it can sort of dull the senses a bit. When digestion really starts in the mouth, it's something to consider that if we're not really taking in the full flavor profiles, we're changing our hunger cues a little bit, starting at the very get-go. So what I'm doing is I am laying them all out, and I'm not really worried about them being like an inch apart or anything, but I'm making sure they're mostly all in one layer so that they dry evenly. And probably as we go, we'll give it a shake every few hours. But anyway, now I am not going to say I don't use sea salt, because I was raised as a salt lover. I'll probably die a salt lover. Most people use salt. However, there are times where we have the opportunity to make a healthier substitution, when we can make a better choice. And it's these little changes and these little baby steps that get us to our ultimate health goals. You know what I'm saying? So even if it's just, you know, in some of your recipes, swapping out Himalayan sea salt, pink salt, table salt for a bit of celery salt instead, it's a much healthier alternative. And you're getting that sodium from a natural food-based source. Now, of course, you're taking it out of context a little bit, because in nature, you will not find food processors or Excalibur dehydrators. But especially if you are someone who uses a lot of salt, like I do at times, this is really nice to have around for a better alternative. So here's how our first tray is looking. I'm gonna pop it in just a second and finish chopping these up. All right, so the last tray is going in. Here we go. We got 4 lovely trays in there. We're gonna have celery salt for days. I think when someone loves raw food or is transitioning, it's such a nice, gifts are such a good idea. I would have loved for someone to give me gifts. Now this doesn't have a 118, but you can kind of get the idea and play it safe. So if it goes up by like 15, 20 increments there, 20 increments, you want to just kind of keep it around there. Oh, yeah, that's probably about right. Okay, so I left it in for about the first day at 105, and then yesterday afternoon bumped it up to 115, and it's been in there another 12 hours. So it was in about, I don't know, 36, 40 hours. Let's see how we're looking here. Nice and crisp. Now at like 18 hours, there was still some flexibility to it. That tells me there was still some moisture in there. So yesterday night, I then like took out the bottom tray and moved it to the top. Moved the top tray to the bottom because the top was a bit squishier than the bottom. But we're nice and crisp now, so we can go ahead and get our food processor out. Okay, so it took a solid few minutes and there was tons of powder in there, so be careful not to breathe that in too much. But so this is a stalk of celery. That's about, I would say, a third of a cup, a quarter to a half. So I would say it's about a third of a cup of celery salt. And it took, I would say, at least 4 minutes on the highest speed to get it this consistency where it's sort of fine and powdery. A lot went into the air, but so this is for a gift, or at least in part for a gift. So I also wrote out how to make it themselves and what to add it to. You can add it to salads, like sauces if you're making a raw pasta sauce, like on top of your zoodles, whatever. Just a healthier form of whole food sodium content. And yeah, I hope this was fun. Easy to make. It's mostly a set it and forget it kind of thing since it's in the dehydrator. And hopefully this is something that you may consider replacing some of your sea salt with. Have a good one.